Today I'm going to talk about how to solve multi-step equations, and you're going to find that most of these will have about 2 steps that I'll do today. I'm not really going to get into variables on both sides or parentheses or combining like terms. We're just going to have your basic 2 or maybe 3-step equation here. Okay, so we're going to start off with this one up here in the corner. Your pretty standard 2-step equation that you see in a lot of word problems. Anyway, so we've got 2x minus 3 is equal to 10. Usually it's a good idea to start by putting these lines on either side of the equal sign, kind of identifying that this is the left side, this is the right side, and whenever we do something to one side, we have to do it to the other side too. Okay, the key here is we're going to have to do order of operations backwards. So we have multiplication and subtraction. Normally we'd multiply first, but since we're going backwards, I actually need to add first. Another way I like to think of this is which number, and it's maybe not the most official way of thinking about this, but this helps a lot of people. Which number is furthest from the x on the left-hand side of the equation? Okay, we're trying to get the x by itself. The furthest number is this minus 3. Okay, so the operation is minus. I should probably put this on here too. Since the operation is minus, we need to do the opposite operation, which is addition. So I'm going to add 3 on the left and the right. And what that will do is cancel out these 3's. Negative 3 and positive 3 cancel. We're left with 2x equals 13. Okay, we've got one more step here. The furthest number on the left-hand side, well, there's only one. It's a 2. Okay, what's the operation? It's multiplication. Even though we don't see it there, when the number's next to it, it's multiplication. So that means we need to divide. So I'm going to go ahead and divide by 2 on both sides here. If I do it on the left, I have to do it on the right. That leaves me with x is equal to 13 over 2. Or another way you could write that is you could do 6.5, or your teacher might also want the decimal 6.5. This is probably my preferred one in just a regular problem like this, 13 over 2. But different teachers like different answers. So, okay, we'll look at this next one here. We've got x divided by 4 minus 9 is equal to 3. Okay, again, the same rules are going to apply. We'll look at the furthest number from the x to start. The furthest number from the x is that minus 9. The x and the 4 are at least in the same fraction, but the 9 isn't even in the fraction with them. Again, the 3 is on the other side, so we're not worried about moving that 3. That 3 is actually okay. It's everything around the x we want to move. So we've got a minus 9, so what I'm going to do is do the opposite. I'm going to add 9 to both sides. This will now cancel out my 9's. I'm left with x over 4, or x divided by 4, same thing, is equal to 3 plus 9 is 12. And now from here, I've got one more step. I've got x over 4, and again, x over 4 can also be read as x divided by 4 is equal to 12. And we know that division can go to multiplication as the opposite operation. So to move that 4 now, we're going to have to multiply by 4 on both sides. So this will cancel out my 4's here, and I'm left with x is equal to 12 times 4 is 48. Okay? And for all these problems, you can go back, if you're not sure if your answer is right, you can go back and plug the answer back in to check. So I'll do it on this one. I probably won't do it on the remaining ones just so I don't make the video too long. But you can do this on any of these problems. If I plug the 48 back in for x, we'll do 48, and then I'll bring everything else here down. 48 divided by 4 minus 9 should be equal to 3. So if I take 48 divided by 4 and subtract 9, I should get 3. Let's check it out here. 48 divided by 4 is 12. And 12 minus 9 is equal to 3. So since both sides are equal, I know I've got the right answer of 48. Okay. What we'll do here next is we will take a look at this third problem, which throws a lot of people off. A lot of people don't like these problems where you have the big fraction bar with the 9. It just goes back to trying to identify which number is furthest from the x. So we'll start off here with the equation. We got 5x plus 4 all divided by 9 is equal to 6. Notice the difference here between these two problems. Okay, this has a whole big fraction bar with the 9 on the bottom. This one only had a small fraction bar with the x. In this case, the 5x and the 4 are on the same side of the fraction, so we'll think of them as being closer than they are to the 9. So the furthest number from the x on this left-hand side over here is going to be the 9. So the 9 is going to move first. It's division. So instead of subtracting that 4 first, we're actually going to multiply by 9 first. Should cancel our 9's out. We'll be left with 5x plus 4 is equal to 54. And now if we subtract 4 from both sides, we'll be left with 5x is equal to 50. And then finally, it's 5 times x. We need to divide by 5 on both sides, which gives me x is equal to 10. And again, I'll leave that to you guys to plug in the 10 to check to see if that is actually equal on both sides. Okay, we got one more here to go. We've got 2 over 3x minus 7 is equal to 5. Don't let these fractions throw you off. They're going to function just like regular numbers, it's just that it's a fraction. So we'll start off here by looking at what the furthest number from the x is on the left-hand side of the equation. In this case, the 2/3 is right next to the x, so the 7 is going to be the furthest. The operation is subtraction, so we're going to have to add, do the opposite. So I'm going to add 7 on both sides. That'll give me 2 over 3 times x is equal to 12. Okay? Now, at this step, a lot of students get confused. There's actually 3 ways to solve this problem. I'll talk about a few, and I'll use the one that most teachers like to refer to. So 2 over 3x is equal to 12. Again, the operation here is multiplication, so you can, if you would like, divide by 2/3 on both sides. Just when you punch that in your calculator, if you want to do it this way, you'd have to type it, so I think that the 2/3 is in parentheses. On most calculators, you'll need to type it in that way. Okay, so make sure your 2/3 here is in parentheses. The way I'm going to solve it will be another way that's called multiplying by the reciprocal. The reciprocal is just basically the flipped over fraction you're dealing with. So if we're dealing with 2/3, I could divide by 2/3 on both sides, but that's the same as multiplying by 3/2 on both sides. And you'll see that if you check that in your calculator, if you evaluate this or you evaluate 12 times 3 over 2, you'll get the exact same answer, or you should. So if we now cancel this out, the 3 cancels and the 2 cancels, we're left with x is equal to, and I'll divide, so 12 divided by 2 would be 6 times 3 is 18. So we would get x is equal to 18 for our final answer there. Okay. Again, another method to solve this, if I have 2/3 x, some people like this way better too, equals 12, you can actually treat it like a 2-step problem. You can say, okay, well that's a 3 on the bottom, so that's division. We could start by multiplying the 3 first. That would cancel this, and we'd be left with 2x equals 36. And then this is 2 times x, and now we can divide by 2. We'd still get x equals 18. So I just showed you 3 ways to deal with those fractions in these problems. Pick the one that works best for you.